I think it's so important to understand the users and the demographics. Who is watching this? How do they prefer to watch this? How do they prefer to sort of consume their content at the highest level? Is it on video? Is it through a newsletter? Is it on television? Is it through their streaming platform? There's so many different ways that people choose to consume their content. And the wonderful thing about CBS is there's an ability to hit them in all these different ways depending on the user and what they really want.
Welcome to Velocitize Talks. I'm Andy North. I'm joined today by Amy Sheridan, Director of Performance Marketing with CBS Interactive. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're delighted to have you here. Tell us a little bit about CBS Interactive and your role there and what some of the things you're excited about.
Sure. I started about 9 months ago at CBS Interactive, and it's been such a journey and an amazing journey at that. My role there is a director of performance marketing. Some of the things I was brought in to do is sort of bring commerce or the affiliate space, which I have about 15 years experience in, bring it into the editorial and video content, which exists at CNET, Entertainment Tonight, CBS News, CBS Sports. We have about 26 different properties.
You've got a great career. You've been an agency owner. You've worked on the agency side quite a bit, now on the corporate side. So over your experience and looking into the future a little bit, where do you see digital marketing going in the next few years?
Digital marketing is such an exciting thing, and being in it for 20 years, you've got to see the ebb and flow of trends and different traffic types. In my opinion, it's going towards AI, it's going towards voice search, it is going towards PWAs, which are things like Google Maps and Airbnb, and sort of on-demand products that you can order from your phone. A PWA is a sort of compressed app which you don't need to download on your phone to take in action in the real world. And I definitely see things moving towards that, but definitely a lot of artificial intelligence, voice search, and video sort of growing and expanding.
And is CBS Interactive using a lot of those technologies in some of the properties?
Yes, all of those things.
That's great.
Yeah.
CBS Interactive is the largest premium content provider with millions of viewers. How do you take these viewers, reach them through your marketing, and transform them into brand ambassadors?
Editorial integrity is the biggest thing I've seen in my 9 months there. I think they care so much about loyalty and their users. We also have an interesting dichotomy because we do a ton of stuff online and also through social video, but we also have a lot of TV shows that back up our online sort of repertoire. And I think it's really amazing to sort of, drive people to something from the television to like our Entertainment Tonight website or CBS Sports or CBS News. I really feel like the writers, both online and offline, are so focused on giving great reviews, great advice, really trying to connect with their loyal users. A lot of these websites and TV shows have been around for 20 years. So there's a loyalty factor that's sort of bought in already. So to take it from sort of the television to online, it's really important that everything that they do is done with the highest integrity.
Have you done any work in the era of personalization? You mentioned letting that user sort of decide how they want to consume it. Do you see that continuing?
I think that's one of the most popular trends that's going to come out in the next 3 to 5 years. I think everything will be personalized then, and the data collection that's been going on for years, both online and off, will really be brought to fruition, and we'll use that to really target the user, like I said, depending on what traffic type and the way that they want to consume their media and how they like to read it.
You made the transition from the CEO of an agency at Blue Phoenix Media to a large corporate global company, if you will. Why did you make that transition first, and how has that been? I'm sure a lot of our viewers would be interested to know what it was like making that jump.
Yeah, well, I was a bootstrapped entrepreneur from the age of 26 to 39. So that was the majority of my adult life I spent running and owning my own business in New York City without funding, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But what I realized, and on a personal level, what I really wanted to do was make a bigger impact without going the funding route or without, getting some kind of cash infusion. You can only grow to a certain level, which is part of the consolidation in this industry. And to be honest, in my opinion, part of the issue in this industry. You can only really take it so far. As the big boys are eating up such a large market share of the traffic and producing the content. But yeah, I started at NBC. I did my internship and many years ago, and they did the Page program. I started at the Today Show. So it kind of became full circle when I got the job at CBS. I sort of went back to where I started, and in the interim, I owned my own business for 13 years.
That's really cool. What has been the biggest trend that you have seen in developing a strong social presence for your customers over the years? Obviously, social was almost the message, whereas now I think the message is more about whatever the message might be, and then social just happens to be the medium.
I think that video is an emerging trend that's really going to sort of take social by fire. I mean, it is to a point, but the fact that anyone can make video, and I think video is so important, especially working for, obviously, a news company. Whether it's social or online or off is such an important quality and something that's really changing and growing, whether it's user-generated content or it's professional video. But there's going to be a lot of changing and growing in the video side of things, and that's what I'm looking forward to checking out in the future.
Actually, let's double click on that a little bit, the user-generated content side of it. Is there too much content now? There is so much out there. How do you focus and get the right content to the right person on the right channel?
I think that's by using data. And I think loyalization and understanding, demographic and psychographic profiles of each person and making them unique and making many buckets and streams. Every person should, in my opinion, and always been in my opinion for a very long time, every person should see a unique piece of content depending on who they are and how they like to consume their content.
Purpose-driven marketing has become a trend as of late. One example being Nike with Colin Kaepernick, and you're seeing a lot more brands leading with their values and their purpose. Are you seeing that, and were you seeing that as an agency owner, and do you see it somewhat with CBS?
Yes, for sure. I see that. It's starting to really become prolific, but I see it sort of creeping towards that at this point. Mm-hmm. I think it's so important for brands to lead with their values, whether they're a B2B brand or a B2C brand. I really think it's important. I mean, even what we're doing right here is kind of like leading with your values, Mm-hmm. I really feel like this is the type of thing that you're making content for people that, you want to show what your company is about and prove that, you're a thought leader, and something like this is even a modicum or a form of it.
I think it's interesting that, first of all, I think it's great that you're in the role that you're in because you bring a lot of experience using brand values and helping build brands and so forth. Would you say now that the consumer that you're trying to reach is no longer just consuming everything that's thrown at them? They're much more discerning, and they're saying, you need to meet me where I am for me to believe in you as a brand?
What we're seeing currently, especially on the CBS side of things, is people choosing how and when and why they want to see their content and delivering it to them in the most accessible way that they choose to see it, whether it's by newsletter or by video or editorial content or television or streaming. There's so many ways, especially at a big company like CBS, to deliver it to them. So it's great that our users and our customers have the ability and option to choose a myriad of ways and really however they want to see it. But I think also from a smaller perspective, going back to when I owned my own business, it made it very difficult for us to deliver it in different ways because we had limitations. Right. We only did web. We didn't do streaming or television or podcasts. So there's so many ways that you could deliver the content these days. It was really difficult to sort of pivot as quickly as need be to deliver great products for our users in a different way.
You mentioned several technologies earlier. Are there any in particular technologies or trends that you're most excited about, whether they're here now or the next 3 years?
Yeah, we talked about personalization and AI before and voice search. I think those would be, an advancement in video as well. But I think loyalty and personalization, like I was saying before about putting each person has unique attribute and data and way that they prefer to consume content. And I really feel like that is the future, one-to-one content, the way that the person likes to consume it based off their psychographic and demographic information.
Everyone's trying to reach the mythical Gen Z now, the up-and-coming generation. I think the oldest are now turning 24 years old. How do you plan to help CBS Interactive reach that generation and make it meaningful to them?
I think the move is social and video and these sort of apps that I was explaining before, these on-demand apps, moving to the sort of sharing economy and, focusing on other ideas that come out of the sort of sharing economy, like the Airbnb and Uber and, Grubhub and things like that. I really believe that Gen Zers are looking for things quickly to get online and have it happen in the real world. And I think that is, the more we can foster that happening for them, that's how to market to them, and that's how to get their attention.
Excellent points. You mentioned apps. Just curious, putting your agency hat back on, is there still a role for the website, or is the world shifting back towards something else new and shiny like apps?
Well, I think there's a hybrid. Like these PWAs are these lightweight apps that you don't need to download that are sort of a micro website. And that's what I see as the future, like a hybrid between the website and an app you don't have to download on your phone and keep it there forever. I really see that as the future. But no, I don't think websites will really ever go away. I do have to say the amount of mobile traffic that I've seen, even in the 9 months that I've been there, it's steadily increases. So, people are really using their devices to live their life, turn their lights on. Every possible facet of their life is kind of controlled by their phone.
Right.
So I see that as the future and only going to continue. But no, I don't think traditional websites will ever go away, really.
That's great. At SWP Engine, we're glad.
Right.
One of the questions we like to ask our guests, is there a book, a blog, or a podcast that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Let's see. I'm a big DigiDay media post type of girl. I read the Media Star every day. I'm more, since I read pretty much for a living, both sort of the editorial content and to be great at my job after 20 years, there's no college for what we do here. So I'm really into more aggregated content rather than one person's sort of opinion on things. But yeah, I'm into the aggregated content things, DigiDay, Media Post.
Thank you for that. My guest today has been Amy Sheridan, Director of Performance Marketing with CBS Interactive. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.